All right, guys, we're going to go over how to use this RV. First of all, your propane tanks are located here. All you do to access these is pull this off. There's 2 tanks there. There's an arrow that points towards one tank or the other. Just make sure whichever tank you open, that's which way the arrow is pointed. And once that tank runs out, you'll flip that arrow towards the other tank and open it up. Hopefully you never need to worry about it, but the battery box is located right behind the propane tanks right here in case you need to access those for any reason. You have a large storage area. This is where you're going to find your gear, put your gear in here, usually like water hose, sewer hose, that kind of stuff. Every corner's got a little stabilizer jack right here. There's just a little hand crank inside. You just crank them down and they kind of stabilize the RV, so when you're walking inside it doesn't wobble so much. These are not levelers, these are just stabilizers, so they just stabilize the RV. You do have an electric awning here. One other point before I move on, make sure you pull those up before you drive away. You don't want to drive away and have those bent out or something because you left them down pulling away. Anyways, awning's electric right here. Just make sure if it's windy, rainy, stormy, anything like that at all, any inclement weather, you go ahead and close this guy up. When you go to bed, make sure it's closed. We highly recommend, if you're literally not sitting underneath it, have it closed. They are about $1,900 to replace, and that's never fun to do. Anyways, coming around, you do have your stairs. These are the solid steps, which are really cool. You just open up this door. Make sure you open this door all the way out of the way, so you don't want the stairs to hit it when it's coming down. There's a lever you pull here, and then you're just gonna go ahead and pull these out. Each leg is adjustable. So you can pull the pin, and each leg you can adjust the height. And the reason for that is obviously if you're not on level ground, you can adjust those. But also this guy right here must be flat against the door panel there. Otherwise, when you go to close this door, it will not close and you'll bend or break the corner of the door. So make sure that this is all level. This is set flush right there, and then you can operate the door. If it's not flush, for example, if it's like this, see how this comes up about 1 inch, it's gonna hit the door and tweak it. So just make sure, and then also when you go to close this, make sure the door's open all the way. You're gonna put it through all the way just like this. You'll pull the lever, just make sure it latches and locks into place, and then you can go ahead and close your door. This right here is a door handle. To operate this, you lift up, twist it, and it locks into place. Also, when you travel, we recommend you actually close it this way so the door doesn't ever pop open on you. There's a couple exhaust vents around the RV. Just make sure you don't put any gear or anything around these. They get hot. You have outlets. Just remember, no outlets will work unless you're plugged in at the RV park or running a generator. You have a little outdoor kitchenette area here where you can set up your grill or whatever outside. This is just a nice little convenient place to put some gear and stuff. We walked right by it, but remember the stabilizer jacks. Hopefully you don't need it, but the spare tire is located here. This right here is kind of cool. It's kind of like a little gear tunnel. You could open this up, put your ice chest in here. It just makes loading some stuff a lot easier than having to take it all the way through the front door and then bring it back. We also have, as we come around on this side, you have your power plug. This is where you're gonna plug in for the RV park or into your generator. So you'll plug it in here, the other end plugs in at the park, and then turn everything on, and you have power running and everything like that. More storage area here. Right here, there's an outside shower, and then you have your black valve. This is for the sewer. So you'll put it on here, your hose, you'll pull this lever, it'll drain out. When you're all done, you're gonna close that valve. There's also a flush where you can run water through it. It's the orange outlet over there. So when you're flushing this, you can have that orange water running through the orange to help flush out the black tank. Close those valves when you're done. You're gonna move it over here. This is the gray water tank. This is for your shower water, your dirty water, all that kind of stuff. It'll kind of clean out the hose. And then for filling your tank, you'll go right here, you unscrew the cap, you put your garden hose in here and fill it up. Once it squirts out, the tank is full. Also, you want to watch your gauges inside so you don't overfill the tank. If you do overfill the tank, a lot of water will begin to pool or drip from underneath the trailer. There's a release valve on top of the tank there. So if it's overfilled, it'll trickle out. You might get a big puddle there. Usually that'll go away after about an hour. The water will stop dripping. And then if you did need to pull or empty some of that water, the freshwater pull valve's right here. You'll pull that, it'll drop that fresh water to make that tank level, lower the tank level, okay? Right here is just some more little storage. Now let's head on inside and take a look. Sure. All right, guys, we're going to go over the operation of how to use this RV from the inside. So right here, you just have a light switch. That's for your exterior awning light. You're going to close this down. You have your awning button in and out like we talked about before. Just make sure if it's windy, stormy, or rainy or anything like that, don't go to bed with it out. Close that bad boy up. You have your stereo control right there, which is kind of nice. And then we'll move over to the sitting area here. This is really cool. It converts into a bed. All you do is fold the legs up. There's little hangovers here where you just drop that table, you put it right on top of there, and then you'll use the two back cushions on top of the dinette table, and that makes the bed. There's a third little piece that fits in there as well, right here, just to make sure it's all perfect for you. And then you should be good here. It's very nice. There's a couple outlets underneath for like charging your phone, all that kind of stuff there. We're going to get into the operation of the refrigerator. To do this, all you do, you're going to open up this fridge here. You first of all want to purge the propane line. So you want to make sure your propane's on and open. We recommend you turn on the stove for about a minute, let that burn. That gets any air bubbles out of the system or anything like that. Go ahead and turn off the stove top. And then for gas, you're going to push this button. It's going to be out, okay? And then you just click it on. This will take about, it'll take about 6 to 8 hours to get cold. So you want to start it the day before you leave. It will freeze the freezer first, then use the cold air from the freezer to begin to cool the fridge. So the fridge won't even get cold until this is frozen. There is a little slider gauge inside the fridge in the top right corner where you can make it colder or warmer. Sometimes if you're going down like a washboard road, that might fall down. So make sure you double check that if the fridge isn't getting cold after a while. Anyways, once you start this, you've purged the propane line with the stove. We recommend you turn it on, let it go for about 3-4 minutes. Then we actually recommend you turn it off really quick. Wait about a minute and then turn it back on. What'll happen is it'll reset and relight automatically. Any air bubbles or anything like that will get out of there, and then it should work perfectly your whole trip. And then just remember, we're going to go over these door handles. These, of course, are patented by the manufacturer. They are a plastic door handle. A lot of times these tend to break off. Teenagers might get it and rip it off, and they're just more delicate than you would think. So just make sure you're careful with these door handles. They kind of click in and then you'll pull it, but don't yank on it. They will pop off or break off. So they run about $50. You don't want to have to buy those. Right here is your thermostat for your heater. You would just click it on up top there, and that turns on the heat. Make sure your gas is turned on when you're using that. And then underneath here, there is a little breaker box. To access this panel, you just push it, it opens up. There are fuses and breakers, kind of like your house would have. Hopefully you never need to get in there, but if you did, that's where you would look for those things. There is a cooktop right here. One thing you want to make sure, this is not a glass cooktop. This is actually turns into the backsplash, and then you're going to access it here. So make sure you don't light these burners and have this down or something like that. Don't do that at all. Make sure this is up. This is now your backsplash, and you can cook here. Also, do not use oversized pots and pans. These are plastic. If you have a huge pot here, it will burn this, and you'll get to replace this whole thing here. So make sure you just use smaller pans, like a little egg pan here, and then you can use your larger pans on this side, okay? Right underneath here is the microwave. Once again, you need the generator or be plugged in at an RV park to use. I'm going to have you slip into the bathroom and check a few things there. We are on the back panel going to show you the water pump buttons, the water heater. You also have your tank level gauges right there, and then to the right you're going to have a GFI outlet. So if, say, for some reason one of the outlets stops working or something like that, always double check your GFI outlet. Underneath the toilet there is a foot pedal for flushing the toilet. Make sure when you flush the toilet, you run enough water through the toilet. You just don't flush it. It's kind of like an airplane. It disappears real quick. Make sure you continue to flush to add water. Otherwise, you will begin to clog the tank because the toilet paper can't disintegrate because there's not enough water to help it do that. Right above us is the air conditioning control. To turn that on, you're just going to reach up and turn on it with the turn dial. Once again, generator needs to be running. We recommend a 4,500 watt generator minimum to run the air conditioning system or be plugged in at the RV park. This bed configuration is really cool. You have a ton of storage underneath it. It's very nice. It does have a special feature. You can actually fold up the bed up out of the way for loading some gear through the back. So you just lift up, you'll actually fold the mattress. The mattress folds in half. You'll fold that first, and then you'll lift it from left to right. And then right on the wall, you're gonna see a couple places where you put some pins in there in the wall, and that's what secures the bed up out of the way. Like I said, that's really nice if you have some gear. Maybe you're going to take a really expensive bicycle or something to a race and you want to put it inside here so nobody steals it. Just make sure also that it's not flopping around. You don't want to poke a hole through the wall or something. Make sure it's secure, any gear that you put in here. Well, that's a good little orientation on how to use this RV. This RV is awesome. For a little guy, this is probably one of the best. It has the most water capacity, has great off-grid packages. This is just great. We can't wait to see you. We'll see you soon.